Hello, and welcome to Wellbeing Wednesdays. Today, my topic is the concept of food as medicine. And I really don't know why this is a concept that surprises people quite so much. Because the ancient healing modalities like Ayurvedic medicine and traditional Chinese medicine both placed a very firm emphasis on how foods affected your body, the sort of foods that you ate. In traditional Chinese medicine, foods have got different qualities which interact with how your body is. But in a much more basic way, go back a couple of hundred years, and the only medicines which Western medicine had were derived from plants. And plants are very often part of our diet. So it really isn't that surprising to learn that food can have an effect on your body. In one way, we know extremely well, and it's a very hard learnt lesson, the effect that food can have on our bodies. If you live on a diet of high salt, high sugar, highly processed junk food, you're probably going to have a weight problem, and your body is not going to be as healthy as it could be. So, on one level, it's absolutely obvious that what we eat has an effect on our bodies. We know it can have a bad effect on our bodies, but equally, choosing the right foods and making sure to use them in the right combinations can have hugely beneficial effects on your body. And there are two specific types of foods where this is extremely obvious and where science is now starting to realise that, you know what? Those ancient healing modalities, maybe they were onto something. And it's quite simple. It's two foods that are full of micronutrients, and they are herbs and spices. Now, the foundation of a healthy diet does come back to something that you have probably heard repeated ad nauseam, and you may be fed up of hearing. But, and it's nothing to do with limiting your calorie intake. This is not, I repeat, not about calories. Because even if you need to lose weight, the idea that you just eat less, move more, no, we know that doesn't work. So this is not about calories at all. So just let go of that idea. The foundations of a healthy diet, and one that is also healthy for the planet, because we know that agriculture and particularly the meat industry have a massive impact on greenhouse gases. So the foundation of a healthy diet is eat less meat, eat more plants, eat a wide variety of plants, and eat as much fresh food as you can. And this is where, if you haven't ever really learnt to cook, this could be difficult. But you don't need me to teach you to cook. If this is something that you're listening to and thinking, you know what, I think this is something I'd like to take forward. If I want to learn to cook, there are loads of videos on YouTube. I mean, I keep saying maybe one day I will do a cooking stream. I do quite enjoy cooking, but being able to cook from scratch is a very useful life skill. It will save you money, and it does give you the option to include lots and lots of herbs and spices in your daily diet. But today I'm going to concentrate on one meal, well, maybe two. I'm going to concentrate on breakfast, and assuming that most people only have one large meal a day, your light meal, which will normally be a sandwich or soup or something like that. So let's look at breakfast. Now, most people will probably either grab a slice of toast or some cereal. You might have something like an egg with it. So let's look at a simple breakfast, ways that you can easily get some really healthy stuff into your breakfast without even trying. Now, let's look at something simple like scrambled eggs on toast. If you're going to have toast, try to make sure it's a whole grain loaf, because that's healthier. If you can, experiment with different sorts of bread, made with different sorts of flour, like rye bread, sourdough bread, that favourite that everyone except me started making during the pandemic. Rye, spelt, wheat, oats. You can make bread out of all of those. And even if you buy normal sliced white bread, do you know what? It doesn't hurt occasionally. But, if you can, swap your normal loaves for a wholemeal one. But you've got your toast, you've got your bread, you're going to toast it. No problem. Now, you can either, if you're going to have scrambled eggs on toast, put nothing on the bread, or you can put butter on it. Please note, I'm not talking about any of these artificial spreads, because they're processed. Butter, or, this is a difficult one since some people don't like it, just put a little bit of olive oil on it to put some moistness into the bread. Scrambled eggs. Simple. Eggs, bit of milk, maybe a bit of butter. You can even do it in the microwave. You don't even have to have a gas hob or an electric stove. You can do it in the microwave really quickly. And that's fine. Eggs are fresh food. They're a good source of various essential fatty acids, very good source of protein. But just to make it a little bit healthier, you can put some black pepper in there, maybe a little bit of turmeric. Throw in a few dried herbs. And that's all you need, just to add a few more plants and some healthy chemicals, because herbs and spices are full of healthy chemicals that have a massive effect on your body. Most people know about turmeric these days. You can buy curcumin supplements. Curcumin is the active ingredient in turmeric. And we know that curcumin has anti-inflammatory properties. But if you're going to have to use turmeric in cooking, you need the black pepper there as well, because turmeric isn't very well absorbed. So you need the combination. And black pepper itself has got its own health properties. And you don't need to go mad and buy a huge pepper mill. You can buy little plastic, I mean, I hope you can recycle them, but you know, if you feel like buying a pepper grinder and the peppercorns, that's fabulous. But it's a little bit of freshly ground black pepper adds flavour and health to your scrambled eggs. Now, let's go to the other favourite breakfast, which is a bowl of cereal, maybe with or without some toast. You're going to have cereal, try and have some oats in there. Muesli normally contains some oats and porridge, but please don't buy the ready-made porridges. Porridge is not difficult to cook in the microwave, doesn't take that long. But even if you've got these, you know, processed porridges, you can still, whether your breakfast is a quick porridge, whether you've made your porridge from scratch, or whether you've just got a bowl of muesli or something like that, again, best choice of cereals is to go whole wheat. And just add a few sweet spices, cinnamon, nutmeg, fennel seeds, cardamom pods. Fennel seeds are probably the easiest. Cardamom need a little bit of grinding down, but so fennel seeds. Cinnamon is really good. Did you know that cinnamon has a profound effect in managing your blood glucose? So there, if you're type 2 diabetic, go with the cinnamon. If all you do for breakfast is have a bowl of cereal, even if you're not going for the whole wheat cereal, even if you're going for something, you know, that's a bit sugary and everything, that probably isn't as healthy as it could be for you, you can make it healthier simply by putting on a little bit of cinnamon, a few fennel seeds, and stirring it in. Another good thing to add to both sweet and savoury breakfasts is chia seeds. Again, full of micronutrients, very full of fibre. Go for the whole chia seeds. You can get them in a shaker. Now, none of those, apart from the scrambled eggs, need you to do any cooking. All you're doing is taking stuff off your spice rack. And if you're saying, I haven't got a spice rack, well, maybe now is the time to make sure you don't need a rack. Maybe just a drawer or a, you know, a few that you keep. Just have a few basic herbs and spices: black pepper, turmeric, cinnamon, nutmeg. I've actually got a nutmeg grater. You can buy whole nutmegs. They're not that difficult to grate. And freshly grated is better because it retains more of the nutrients. And they aren't expensive, and they last a long time. And by simply doing that, that's a very, very cost-effective way of making your diet healthier than it was. Now let's move on to your light lunch or tea. Sandwiches, yeah, fine. Again, same as I said for your toast. Ideally, you want whole wheat, wholemeal bread, whole grain. But you can put a sandwich filling in that is healthy. Nothing wrong with cheese. Nothing wrong with a boiled egg sandwich. A tin of tuna, if you like fish. Any tinned fish goes great in a sandwich. And it's healthy. And then Once you've made your sandwich, if you want to, you can just, before you put the top on, again, just, a little bit of seasoning. And add a little bit of green into your diet, into your sandwich. Maybe always have, a little bit of lettuce or cucumber. Just put a little bit of green in, whether it's lettuce, whether it's rocket, whether it's uncooked spinach. Chard is another one you can eat uncooked. Maybe put a little bit of coleslaw in with raw onion, raw carrots, raw cabbage and a bit of mayonnaise. Just add a few raw vegetables in, and you will be making that lunchtime sandwich so much healthier than it was. And these are things that don't need cooking skills. If you work and you normally buy a sandwich on your way to work, get into the habit of making your sandwich. A, at the moment, it'll save you an awful lot of money. And B, you can put things in it that you know will be healthier for you. Cannot emphasize that having a few herbs and spices and always making sure you've got something salady to put in a sandwich will make it so much healthier, and it will have an impact on your body. And please note, I'm still not saying anything about the C word, because that's not what this is about. This is about getting micronutrients in that have beneficial effects on how your body operates. Now, I've spoken a lot about different sorts of plants. And you're probably thinking, oh, any minute now, she's going to come up with the idea that you need to eat 5 fruit and veg a day. Well, yeah, that is actually very good advice. You probably need more than 5. That's the bad news. And you need more vegetables than fruit, which may also be a little bit of bad news. The only other thing I would say to add to that is make sure you're eating a wide variety of colours. So I've already mentioned carrots, onions, green-leaved stuff. What else did I mention? The coleslaw cabbage, which is also a different thing. And so your coleslaw contains 4 different sorts of plants. And if you add a few spices in or a few herbs, here's the good news. Herbs also count as plants. So yes, as a starting point, making sure you're eating at least your 5 fruit and veg a day, and making sure you're eating a wide variety of colours, remembering that potatoes don't count as one of your 5 a day. Sorry. But where potatoes do count is in a slightly different challenge, which is also health-based, which is to eat 30 different types of plants in a week. Now, you might be listening to that thinking, what? How on earth am I going to do that? Because every different herb that you use counts as a different plant. So if you put a little bit of rosemary or coriander leaf, or I've already mentioned fennel, turmeric counts as a plant, cinnamon counts as a plant, anything that comes from a plant counts. So over a period of 7 days, getting 30 different plants, which also includes whatever your bread is made of. Bread is made from plants. Your breakfast cereal is made from plants. So it isn't that difficult. And adding in a few herbs and spices greatly adds to the number of plant foods that you eat. while you can get away, in theory, with eating the same 5 fruit and veg each day, as long as you're getting your 5 a day, this 30 a week challenge is a bit harder because it needs to be 30 completely different plants over a week. So, that means you've got wheat, oats, raisins, barley, oranges, apples, bananas, potatoes, onions, carrots. Well, there's 10. And then you add in things like cinnamon, nutmeg. Sumac is a nice spice if you've never come across it. Bit more expensive than some of the others, but it's got a nice flavour. What other spices did I mention? Oh, ginger. That's a really good one. And we're suddenly up to 14 different plants. And you could easily manage that in 2 days if you vary your breakfast and your lunch. And we haven't even touched on dinner because I want to look at things that you don't need to cook, because I'm trying to make this as accessible as I can for people who, go into a kitchen and think, help, I don't know where to start. But most people know how to make toast. Most people are quite comfortable with cereal for breakfast. And most people are happy with sandwiches. And most people know how to make a sandwich. So this is starting with the real basics and showing how you can make even those healthier than they are now by making a few simple additions without needing fantastic cooking skills. With the added bonus that once you've had the outlay for the herbs and spices, especially if you're used to buying your sandwich for lunch, you could save yourself a lot of money. And don't we all need to save money at the moment? So, all these herbs and spices that I've been talking, let's focus on the herbs and spices for the moment. They all contain chemicals which are known to have beneficial effects on how your body operates. They are anti-inflammatory. They help control your glucose. They contain micronutrients that are necessary for the healthy functioning of your body. Things like magnesium, chromium, manganese. So they're very good at getting micronutrients in that aren't shown on the labels, where you look at, and you're really only looking for calories and fat and sugar. Macronutrients tend to take care of themselves. It's the micronutrients that we can so easily forget. And it isn't even about vitamins. It's about the very, very tiny bits that help your body function, that are good for your overall health and well-being. Because if your body is functioning properly, it stands to, it's obvious. Your body is going to be functioning better. You are going to be and feel better. And that's what this is all about. It's about helping your body to feel better. Because once you've got your body feeling better, your mind will follow, trust me. And the really good news is that a lot of these herbs and spices we know have effects on your mental health and well-being, as well as your physical health and well-being. So it really, really does pay dividends all around. So you can use the contents of your store cupboard as medicines, because even tinned things or frozen things like tinned tomatoes, frozen peas, frozen green vegetables, tinned lentils, tinned beans, even baked beans. They're still plants. They're still a source of protein, certainly beans and lentils are a really good alternative source of protein if you're trying to cut down on your meat intake. And again, something simple like baked beans on toast, perfectly acceptable lunch. And again, all you need to do is black pepper, a few herbs, some cinnamon. Cinnamon and chia seeds can go in savoury as well as sweet things. So when you're doing baked beans on toast, nice simple lunch, doesn't need much in the way of cooking skill. Just put a bit of pepper, maybe a bit of turmeric, maybe some cinnamon, some chia seeds, just into it. And the same goes for soup. Nothing wrong with tinned soup for lunch. Absolutely nothing wrong. Tinned food is fine. I would say go for tinned vegetable soup. I would also recommend going for soups where you've got bits of vegetable rather than it being all zhuzhed down. But, if you like a, cream tomato soup, that's fine. One of my favourites is carrot and coriander soup, where all the carrots are zhuzhed down. You're still going to get some of the health benefits from the vegetables that are zhuzhed down in the soup. But again, all you've got to do is just add little bits to the soup. If you get something out of a tin and heat it up, you can always add a herb or a spice to it to add a little bit extra flavour and to add a little bit more in terms of health. And that is how you can use your food cupboard as a medicine cupboard. Because these small things, the herbs, the spices, have a massive effect. And you don't need an awful lot of skill to learn to use them. I mean, you can go online and do cookery courses if you want to. And if you really want more information, I do really recommend the Zoe Health. Listen to their podcast. They do lots of stuff and they do know far more about it than I do. They cover it in greater depth than I do. What I'm telling you, I've learnt from a variety of sources, including the Zoe app. But actually, I have a background in nutrition. When I was a pharmacist, I was part of the nutrition team. So I know and absolutely understand how core nutrition is to health. Yes, things like proteins, fats, sugars, those are important. And you do need a diet that's balanced in terms of protein, fats, and carbohydrates. You need all three food groups. But you also need these micronutrients that you can get from these herbs and spices that are quite cheap, last a long time, and they add flavour to your food. Trust me, it's a win-win and you don't need skill. I repeat, you can make a simple breakfast and a simple lunch, even if it's coming out of a tin and all you're doing is heating it up on the stove or putting it in the microwave. You can make any breakfast or any lunch a little bit healthier by adding herbs and spices that are appropriate to what you're eating. And that is how, or one way that you can use food as medicine, because although I didn't like the programme, you are what you eat. And doesn't it pay to make sure that your body is getting everything it really needs? And when you do that, your body works better and your body will thank you. Okay, I'm going to leave this for now. I've got no idea yet what I'm going to be talking about next Wednesday. If you want to find out, want to actually talk to me, join my Discord. The link is in the About Me section on this channel. If you really like what you're seeing here, go to my Patreon again. The link is in the channel, where you can see stuff that I do on Twitch, which fits with this whole health and well-being thing that I'm on, which is my focus. And if you're really finding it useful, for £1, for £1.49 a month, excuse me, £1.49 a month, you can become a Patreon subscriber, and that gives you access to extra stuff that doesn't go on either Twitch or YouTube. I want to empower you to get yourself as healthy as you can. I want to empower you to do stuff that doesn't take a lot of time and doesn't take a lot of money, because certainly at the moment no one's got an awful lot of money. But in the end, your health and well-being is down to you. All I'm trying to do is give you helpful hints and techniques that you can use, because you matter. And eating healthily is actually the ultimate act of self-care. It really is. Eating a healthy diet looks after your body, looks after your mind, shows you that you love yourself, and there is nothing better that you can do than show yourself that you love yourself, because you matter. Namaste.